Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Podcast, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Steve Peters, Craig Morgan, and we are joined by a very special guest making, I don't even know how many times you've been on our show at this point, at least 4, at least.
Yeah, you might be the record holder.
I get nervous now that he knows his way to the studio because every day he comes in, I think my job's probably going away. He's just going to slide in. He looks good up here. But he's just going to slide into my spot.
And, you know, normally PD and I take our trips down the I-10, and this time Steve Potvin saved us the trip and came up the I-10 to talk about the Tucson Roadrunners. Welcome back to the show, Tucson Roadrunners head coach Steve Potvin.
Well, it's an easy place to come to. I didn't realize how well you guys are situated here. There's a beer fridge here. There's all the amenities that you need. It'd be easy for us to come back. No problem.
I don't want him this comfortable.
Some of us have already found the beer fridge.
I saw Saul Bookman. Saul Bookman's already putting his name on one of the doors right now. I'm like, Saul, no, too soon.
It's becoming less and less special, I guess, every time I come on.
No, you're becoming more and more like a correspondent at this point.
Exactly.
We should just put you on the payroll at PHNX.
I'm guessing this wasn't the main reason you came up to Scottsdale, though, buddy.
Well, I don't know. I honestly, I wanted to see what the studio looked like.
All right, here it is.
I wanted to be live one time more with
fantastic.
You guys, but actually where you guys do your work. But no, I came home to see family and happy to have a few extra minutes to spend with you guys.
Sure. So we ate up one of your rare off days. So
yeah,
really we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing this. So we'll get into it. We're obviously here to talk all things Tucson with you, but let's just start with kind of an overview of this season. What have been your big picture takeaways from this group and its performance and abilities relative to last year?
You know what? Well, we've got far more depth this year. We've got some great leadership aspects that we didn't have last year. We were a really young team, and so this year we're a lot older. We've got players that have played a significant amount in the NHL and can give a lot of the feedback that the young guys need. And, the guy I'm talking about is Adam Cracknell. I'm sure we're going to speak about him as we go here, but it's been a really good group to coach. And honestly, it's also challenging when you have older guys mixing in with the young guys. You know, the old guys want to play and they want to get their next contracts. And, you got to give them the appropriate amount of ice time and give them the looks that they need to get that contract, and the young guys need the same amount of ice time to keep growing. So it's been a good challenge.
We look at the same thing here with the big club, where you look at they bring in veteran players. They did it last year. You talk about that group with Beagle and Ladd, and this year it's players like Bugstead, and they've got that older core that's helping the younger guys. But at the American League level, it's a little different, and a lot of the kids you're getting are kids, and they're in their first stage of development where they do not hook up their APS bill, and they don't know how to get how do I buy groceries and do that. Do these guys help them off the ice too in learning how to be a pro?
Well, you know what? Every day you see a 37-year-old man next to you in the stall. You see that it's different. You're not talking about the Xbox and necessarily the games that you play after practice. He's got a real life, and he's there to really help these guys grow and mature, and they're going to be experiencing exactly what he's going through at some point in life.
So one of the big storylines in Tucson this season has been Michael Carcone, who's pursuing a Roadrunners goal-scoring record. What's been clicking for Carcone this year? What's driving his production?
He's got belief now. He's played in the NHL, and it's been a long road for him to get there. And I think once you tap in and you recognize that you feel that you can play at the next level, and it really brings a little extra confidence to your game. And so he's playing with a lot of confidence. He's playing with Adam Cracknell. He's playing with some guys that are really hard on pucks and wanting to get him pucks. And he's been, really a catalyst for our power play. So he's getting a lot of ice time. He's playing with some good players. And, for him, I think it's just the depth of belief that he has in himself.
Steve, I want to go back to something you said in your first answer, managing the ice time. A lot of these young guys, because you didn't have the depth, you didn't have the veterans you have this year, they were thrown into different roles last season. They're playing a lot, playing in offensive situations. and now it's a step back, right, to learn how to play a complete game that will get them to the NHL. How do you deliver that message? How have they received it? Because sometimes it's easy. Like people up here, I've said this to you before, they'll look at numbers for some of these guys and say, oh, he slipped, he's not producing as much, but it's not that simple, obviously.
Yeah, when you're looking at some of the players, Ben McCartney comes to mind. He had a significant role with the team last year, and he has a significant role with the team this year. The good thing is, when you're trying to give them the message of, what to expect and how we're going to get to the next level, they've already been to the next level, and they know that, hey, they're not going to get probably more than 8 to 12 minutes when they start at the NHL level. So for us, it's, you're going to have to really own those 12 minutes that you get in the American Hockey League level. You're going to basically get the same type of touches in the NHL. So you got to master the amount of time that you're getting, and it's a little bit limited compared to what you had last year, but those are the challenges he's going to face in the NHL. So it probably gives him a leg up doing it right now in the American Hockey League to, a lot of times when you're getting those extra touches, it's easier to get in the game. And so when you're only at 8 to 12 minutes, sometimes you have to be really sharp mentally when you're not playing on the bench. So for him, it's just a good way to keep practicing, and it'll prepare him for what's to come.
We talked about Carcone, and there are several players on this Roadrunner roster that have spent time here in Arizona playing with the Coyotes. And there's a couple. Carcone had a lot of time. And then you look at Dyson Mayo, another player that had a lot of time. But you've got Dauphin, you've got Cam Dineen's played up here. So you've got a lot of guys. How is that adjustment now that they've been here, seen it, done it? Especially a guy like Mayo that has to go now and find something different in his game. How are you able to help motivate these guys so they don't get too down? And that can be hard, dark days. How do you help them find the ability to get up every day and try to make their way back up?
Well, you know what? The carrot is always there in front of them. I think they're always one injury away, or, they're one good weekend away from getting back into the NHL. And so once you've had a little taste of the NHL and you've seen it and you can almost touch it, I think the guys do a pretty good job of self-motivating, and it's literally right there in front of them. And at times it can feel that, you're really a long ways away, and at times you feel like you're right there. And I think for them, it's just keeping everything into perspective and trying to stay in the moment. But I think once you've had a taste of it, they want more, and they want to get up. So they stay motivated.
When you do these call-ups, and we've seen them all the time, how much input do you and your staff have with the Coyotes management and staff on who and how these spots get filled?
Yeah, there's good dialogue, definitely. From I think it's done by committee, but I think most of the time, whatever guy gets injured, that place or that spot needs to be replaced. So depending on the position, a lot of times we don't have a real strong say in it. It's if they need a center, then the top center is going to go. So it's pretty easy at that point. But when it comes down to the same position and the same type of player, it gets a little bit more difficult, and there's definitely more conversations that go into it. But so far the dialogue's been good, and it's typically done by committee.
I want to talk about a few of the guys in Tucson right now who could be a part of the Coyotes' future. We're always looking toward the future right now with the phase the Coyotes are going through. So just going to go through a couple. I'll read the names, and you can kind of give your thoughts on their progression. And we'll start in goal with Ivan Prosvetov.
Yeah, Ivan's, he's come a long way. He's had to go through a part of the season where, he was sharing the net a lot of times, and we were trying to put him in positions to have success. And now we're getting to the end of the season, and the games they're very meaningful. And so now we're giving him the opportunity to play back-to-back games, and he's responded well. I thought he, at the start of the season wanted to play more, but we wanted to make sure that he was detailed and with the technical stuff that we were working on him with him on. And so, we were kind of protecting him a little bit, and now he's in a phase where he's all go, and we're hoping that he keeps playing the way he has been the last 2 games. He's got 2 victories, and he started in the last 4. So hopefully he keeps going.
Do you think a guy like Ivan with goaltenders' timelines in particular, they can be longer? Do you think he understands that process, that, hey, you're not like a forward who might jump into the lineup quickly. This could be a long game here.
Ivan's an elite person. He wants to excel, and he wants to excel fast. So I think he understands it. It's just a matter of having that patience. But yeah, as you said, goalies, they do take a little bit more time, and they need to see a lot of pucks before they get up to the NHL. They almost have to be a little bit like a tire shop. They need to see a little bit more rubber.
Waiting all day for that one.
Oh boy.
Watch
I'm gonna be
out,
clipping that
watch
one.
out, Petey. Watch out.
Check it out.
All right, next guy we want to ask you about. He's actually up with the Coyotes right now, but it's Victor Soderstrom.
Yeah, I've loved this game here. I think he's come in and he seems like he's really confident. He came in and he was an 18-year-old player that came from Sweden. So there was a lot you were talking about, setting up their electric bills, but like he's literally came from a different country and to learn our culture and the language. Language wasn't such a barrier for him. They speak English in Sweden, but for him to learn our game coming from a bigger ice surface and how we play a little bit grittier, a little dump and chase type game, he had to adjust and adapt. And he was only 18 years old, and he's still very young at this point. I think he's 22, 21 years old still. So I've loved seeing his maturation, and his last couple of games, he's looked very confident in the NHL.
Let's throw out another name, Jenik.
Yeah, he's a player that we really miss right now in the AHL.
Mm-hmm.
He's that next piece, that offensive piece that has grit, that can play, in so many different ways. And he's a player that we've missed. We joked, but it wasn't funny. I think our record, immediately when he was gone, I think we lost we were like 2-10 in the first 12 games that we missed him. So it was. He's made an impact in our lineup, and now he's made an impact not being in our lineup.
And he's been out now with a lower body injury for quite a while. As you prepare for the end of the season and your run for a playoffs, is Jenik come back into the picture before you guys get to those important games?
Yeah, it seems like he's trending in the right direction. It looks like he's coming back in good time. So we hope to have him in the lineup. Hopefully he's going to be able to play a handful of games, and then we'll get it right into the playoffs.
All right, next guy on this list, Vladislav Kolyachonok. I think I said that right.
Yes, this he's kind of like Ivan Drago type.
Yeah,
he comes every day with a plan. He's a pro beyond pros. He's one of those guys that if some guys are practicing, he's already probably been on the ice 15-20 minutes. If guys are practicing, he's taken that next step in the practice, and he can't wait for after the practice so that he can get even further along and get 15 to 20 more touches. He's a guy that's going to be in the NHL. He can skate really well. He's physically strong. He has good vision. Just a matter of cleaning up some of his puck touches and his decision making, and he's going to be an NHL.
Yeah, I think you described him like as a robot sometimes with the way he approaches things, just methodical, everything laid out. He's going to get it done.
He's going to get it done. He's not going to fail the plan.
What kind of minutes is he playing for you right now? What kind of a role is he playing for you in Tucson?
His role is significantly increased just in the recent days because Soda's up.
Yeah.
So now he gets to play both power play and penalty kill,
wow.
both special teams. But he's so reliable, and he can, he's one of those guys where, sometimes we have to monitor how much guys get in during the week, how hard they work, because they may fatigue. He's a kid that takes care of himself so well off the ice. We have to treat him a little bit differently. So
wow.
He can play the back-to-backs, and we're going to put him in some real difficult situations, and we know we can fully trust him.
All right, one more guy on this short list is Nathan Smith, who Coyotes fans saw up here at the end of last season, but he's been with the Roadrunners all season long.
Nathan's an interesting player. He's got a lot of skill. He can make the next play, and he can also play physical, and he can play hard. He's not a very big man, but he plays physically. He can take hits. He can give hits, and he's good in the face-off circle. So he's a player that was obviously a big part of his school where he was playing. He was a big part of that team. And so, for him to come and play pro hockey, it's a little bit of an adjustment. You're always getting the extras. You're always getting the extra touches, the extra ice time. When you're not a pro yet, and for him to have to share the ice time a little bit was a little bit of a, it's for him. It was just he had to adapt, and it was an adjustment for him. And now he's coming into his game, and I don't think it's going to be very long before we see him in the NHL as well.
Yeah, when we saw him come in last year from college, where he was a goal scorer, he's an offensive guy. He's got 11 goals in 50 games. It's good. It's not the elite, like when you look at Carcone. Carcone's got 24. I mean, so he's not the guy that you turn to, I need a goal right now. So I think for Nathan Smith, what you're finding is he's got to learn a 200-foot NHL game, and it's a big step from college to the AHL, and the step is even bigger from the AHL to the NHL. But I still think there is room for him, and he will get some games in the National Hockey League, whether it's this year or next year. People need to be patient with him because I think he's still learning.
There's no doubt, and I think that's the key. If you get called up and you're not ready to play that 200-foot game, you can very easily be sent down the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that when he comes up, Bear's going to trust him in every scenario, and so adapting to everything matters is a big thing coming out of college.
Well, if you're watching us live right now on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, it's 11:17 a.m. and Petey is drinking a Four Peaks beer.
I've got a Four Peaks one, but I want to come back to a comment Caleb made earlier. Like, I don't know what world Caleb lives in. Caleb's like, good morning, buddy. It's 11. It's like,
what time did you wake up?
I was up at 5:18 today. 11? Good morning? Like it's almost 5 o'clock body time. So that was my rationale behind the wow. Plus it's wow. It's got a little bit of orange.
Yeah, it's very good daytime. Orange, mimosa.
Like a little breakfast beer.
Orange juice. Sure. Why not?
Vitamin C.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
we love Four Peaks beer here so much that we drink it at all times of the day. And right now at
Some of us anyway.
Yeah. Right now at Four Peaks, they have a really fun thing going on, the Beer Can Derby. It's on February 25th at the Four Peaks 8th Street Pub in Tempe. You can pick up your kits now. So if you want to show us you got the fastest beer can in the valley, sign up through fourpeaks.com/events. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. And listen, the NBA is off right now for the All-Star break, so it's a lot of NHL on the TVs all week. And what better time to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and bet on the NHL, especially with the trade deadline right around the corner. Get your team futures in now before they all shift next week. So be sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app using that code PHNX, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. That's only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. Why are you sighing?
Because look what Rick said.
Will Austin Matthews spend any time with the Roadrunners when he's signed?
He's got to sharpen his game up, learn the system. Let's send him down to Tucson. Can you imagine? Yeah, we're going to send, we just signed him. We're going to send him down to Tucson for a little TCC. He might fill the TCC. Austin Matthews would look good there.
Hey, there's an illegal pizza on University.
Yes, there is.
We love illegal pizza.
All right. We wanted
room
to
for him on the power play.
Find some space.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tucson, one of the biggest reasons the Coyotes wanted their affiliate there was the proximity and the synergy that it creates between the coaching staffs. You can talk on the phone anywhere, obviously, and try and create that synergy. But when you have the opportunity to go back and forth and have those coaches come down, Lars comes down or whoever comes down, it changes the game. I'm just curious if you can walk us through that process, what it has looked like multiple years in now and how it's benefiting you guys.
Well, just as you said, it's a major benefit. You can, split time between the two teams for Lars to be able to come in and skate with our guys. And, he can literally just call us up and say, hey, do you guys need anything today? Yep, we do. Perfect. I'll see you in a couple hours. And then he skates the guys. And it's been a real benefit from that standpoint. And, our guys knowing that it's just up the road, it's for some reason, it doesn't matter whether you're 500 miles or really, 100 miles away. But, when you're that close, an hour and a half distance, you just feel like you're tethered to the team a little bit tighter. And, they're always kind of watching. And so you feel like you're really connected at that point.
Yeah, and that happens too, because you look at when this team was out in Portland, Maine, and they were at the other end of the country, or Springfield, Mass. They were their own out there. You didn't know how the players were doing. The coaches couldn't just drive down and see a game. Bill Armstrong couldn't keep tabs on it. So it was a separate entity. And worse yet is getting a player here was nearly impossible. So it is the synergy between the two organizations. Your strength and conditioning people can go down. Your power skating coach you talked about. I just think what I want to know is how is that communication between you and Coach Tournier? Do you guys talk? Do you talk about systems? Do you ever communicate about hockey itself and X's and O's?
Oh yeah, absolutely. From the coach's perspective, it's always nice to see what type of adjustments they've made. And a lot of times we can watch ourselves and kind of figure out the adjustments they're making. But, as the season gets going, it's so difficult at times. You think there's going to be so much more conversations or communication going on. But, we tried to set it up once a week, once every 2 weeks, and their schedule gets going, our schedule gets going. You're, a lot of times coming in late at night and then early morning meetings, and you're scrambling to get things together. So, of course, we talk and we have that dialogue. But it's as the season goes, it becomes harder and harder to really get a lot of conversations going. But obviously, when there's real impactful moments where we talk players, or as you said, some of the system-based topics that we need to go through, then of course there's dialogue and conversations.
Are they in French or English?
Bonjour.
Well, if we're not happy, it's always in French, because we always feel like we can swear in French.
And you could get you're fluent French too, right?
I'm fluent in French. Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
Wow.
So how do you sound like this and Bear does not say like this?
I sound like he does when he speaks English.
Oh, okay.
So and in French, when I speak French to him, he probably needs a translator for that. I am fluent. I understand everything and I can speak, but it takes me a little bit longer. And by no means do I think I'm as good as Bear when I speak French. He speaks wonderfully in English, but we can get along in French.
He has some great words too. Our favorite is opportunity instead of opportunity.
That's penalty too.
Penalty. Yeah, it's awesome.
We love those.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
he's got a few good ones.
Yeah, he does. So that we've talked about this with you before, but the AHL is so interesting because there are call-ups to the NHL, and as such, it's rare that you keep your full roster from start to finish. Do you ever get used to the idea that your team might never establish continuity because of all the call-ups?
Well, I think it's kind of like a golfer. When a golfer goes out and he plays a perfect game, it's kind of boring. We like the challenge. We like to see
Wouldn't
our
know
guys.
what that's like.
Of course, it brings upon some really good challenges, but it's also some great opportunity for players. So when a guy gets called up, there's a lot of players that are in behind there looking for that extra ice time, and so they're raring to go and can't wait for that opportunity to play more minutes. So usually they step in and do a pretty good job.
Are there betting lines on AHL? Because I have no idea how it would be done.
I think.
How do you plan on that? Oh, 6 guys just got called up. So,
but the answer is yes.
I mean, you can bet on anything. So. Yeah.
So not that I ever would.
PD betting? No.
It doesn't happen.
I want to talk a little bit about the Pacific Division. I remember when this was getting going and I was talking to people about the formation of a Pacific Division, and it felt like a pipe dream for so many years. Now it's the largest division in the AHL. It's kind of crazy to see how it's developed. What impact has that had on you in terms of travel, competition, all the things that you think about when you're trying to develop players?
Well, first and foremost, I think a lot of the players want to come here. They want to play and experience what it's like to be in the West.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't they, right? So that's really brought a lot of attention to our teams, and I think it's brought our level up here too. The Pacific, I think, won the AHL All-Star Classic competition or whatever they had.
Minor flex there.
Yeah, right. And so, for us, it's been great. And now with the Palm Springs being here, it's not such a long trip, and now there's there's options to have bus rides to our game. So it's a lot easier, it's a lot better, and it's a great division to be in. It's a really fast, hard brand of hockey.
I wonder sometimes, with this geographical area, you can almost make a division out of this, like a Southwest division. There's so many teams right in this area now. It's amazing.
100%. You're right. We could. Yeah, we're at 9 now, right? So it's the largest division. It could be easily into 2 divisions. It can.
Or Palm Springs needs a video guy.
Anderson,
just checking. Anybody's listening out there.
But also Utica or San Diego.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just saying.
Some great cities in the upper Northeast, Sean.
I was
But
going to say, what's up with this upstate New York?
I know.
Right?
We talk about the
Sorry.
Pacific Division now, and it's that time of year. Like, I know we're talking about the Coyotes and their playoff push. Let's talk about the Roadrunners and theirs with under 25 games to go in your season. You're coming off a big sweep over Henderson over the weekend. What's it look like down the next 25? What are some key teams you need to compete with? And what does the playoff picture look like for you in the Pacific?
Key teams, we're going to be playing some really top teams here. The Monsters are coming in. We're going to be playing Colorado. We're going to be playing Calgary. Those are always top of the division. Those are going to be some pretty big games for us. We've got a weekend series against Chicago next weekend that is going to be very impactful for us. That's a team that we can play against. We need to beat, and we play them twice. So we've played them twice at home. A couple weeks ago, we beat them. It's a big weekend for us.
How many teams make the playoffs out of the Pacific?
7.
Okay, so you're right there right now. You're sitting at 6. So you're in the playoff picture for sure. So people, if you want to see a playoff race, and we talk about it here and joke about it here with the Coyotes, well, their AHL affiliate is actually in a playoff race. So keep tabs on them, watch them, follow them. This is going to be exciting, and a lot of the names on these players. So definitely tune in as this continues.
And by the way, they're about to expand NHL rosters, so who knows who we'll lose.
But that's one thing, Craig. Craig,
Right.
the one thing here is going to be interesting to see how Bill Armstrong manages this. Is what does he do? What does he play at the Coyotes and get them at the NHL level, or does he have them play meaningful games in the AHL where it's learning about how to win important games, how to get through playoffs, how to play a series? It's going to be interesting to see how they manage that experience of the National League, but the experience of winning and culture and important games late in a season, which is invaluable. So we'll see.
Yep, definitely.
Might be a balance of both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's exciting to follow for sure. PD, you mentioned earlier, you have to get people set up on their bills and, live and be an adult living on your own. And a part of that is buying furniture.
It is.
But lucky for the people in Tucson, they have Arizona's best furniture at their disposal. Too? I'm actually not sure, but it's in Arizona, so I feel like it's fair game. More furniture. I have been checking it like all week because I am moving this weekend. I literally was on my phone on More Furniture's website yesterday, trying to find a kitchen table, a dining room table. There's just a lot. When you move and you move to a bigger space, you need a lot of stuff. So luckily I have more at my disposal, and you can save big on the best furniture in the Valley when you head to morefurniture.com. That's MOR furniture.com. PD, we need to do an underdog fantasy draft soon.
We do. Let's do it.
Long.
Let's do it tomorrow or Wednesday.
Wednesday before the Coyotes game.
For the early set.
You can do a draft for certain slates of games. And like I mentioned earlier, there's a ton of NHL games all week with the NBA off. So what better time to get into daily fantasy drafts with your friends? You can also play the pick'em game, pick player higher or lower on point totals. And maybe if you're like me, consider getting that insurance option if you constantly only miss one leg, which is something that's been happening to me a lot. If you can't tell, pretty bitter. But it's super easy to get started on Underdog. Go to underdogfantasy.com or download the app. Sign up with the code PHNX, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100.
All right. Leah is a U of A product. PD has U of A ties.
I do.
Through Jackson. We have a lot of people with U of A ties in this office. It actually bugs Sean and me a lot. we talk about it. But Tucson's a pretty good city. If I'm being honest here, I really like that town. I think it's a great college town. There's a really cool downtown area as well. What does a coach do with those hours and hours of free time that you have on hand?
I really like my apartment. To be honest with you, right by the, it's not too far from the rink. I can walk back and forth. I can listen to the audio. We were talking about audiobooks. I have a really fun life in Tucson. I walk from the rink right to my apartment.
Yep.
And then back.
And get ready. That's about it.
And then in between there's a few restaurants I like to stop every once in a while. But it is a great place. I mean, I think the guys so enjoy it there. The downtown is being it's you can see it's growing. It's changing. They're always constantly improving it. And it's vibrant. On a Friday night, you can't make your way up and down the downtown streets. It's packed. It's congested with people. So come check it out. It's a lot of fun.
But that's one of the things we talked about here in Arizona being a destination place for players. It's coming. I think they need to start winning more. We talked about the new building and all of those things to make this a destination. But Tucson in the American League, when you sign free agents too. Like, you have to show, hey, come here. Like, look at for so many reasons, the opportunity to get called up is here because the team needs players from us. We do it continually. It's a nice city. Our weather is great. Our travel's not too bad. So you've got to start to be a destination for American League free agents.
Oh, absolutely. I think as we keep going, as you said, as we keep going and we win and we start growing our culture, it's going to be a real favorable place for the guys to want to play.
I'm just picturing you going back to your apartment and just kind of staring off into space. It's a little quiet time.
The good thing is that I get the sunset right in my apartment. So I go out on my balcony and I'm able to, oversee the city, and I'm watching, and I got my video there, of course, if anybody's watching.
But one thing, Craig, and I'm going to say this because once you're a coach and you step into a mind of a coach and see coaches work, even when they're off, it's going. Yep. It's well, what about that line matchup? Well, that guy's going to get hurt. How am I going to do that? Well, this power play coming in, how am I going to kill that? It literally doesn't shut off. You could be laying in bed and going, oh, yeah, I thought this will blew the second guy in the forecheck. It doesn't turn off until summer, and then when it's over, just for a little bit before you ramp up again. But I tell you, I can just hear him saying back and forth to the rink. It's not like you're just sitting there watching soap operas. You're buzzing. You're watching video. You're keeping up on what's going on, and it's never ending.
Accurate?
Oh, 100%. You know what? I slept far better as an assistant coach. You're right. You're constantly thinking what's your message the next day, what your lineup is, how you're going to try to grab the next inch out of the next player. And then, like you said, the team that we're playing, who are we going to match up, or do we care about the matchup? So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts when you're the coach, for sure.
So do you have any go-to spots for a restaurant or a hike? Do you ever get to hike? Or
Chef Alisa,
do you have a yogi that helps you through these?
Karaoke?
Try to get like a yogi to get you into
karaoke. Steve Potvin, Monday.
I don't want to go there, so let's.
Can you see that Monday open mic night on there?
I was trying to reach him.
Yeah, where is he?
I got all excited.
The Love Boat
karaoke. No, you know what? Our schedule has been so crazy. I haven't really been out in Tucson that often. To be real honest with you, we've been playing much like an NHL schedule, back and forth, and so
much like the Coyotes schedule.
Much like the Coyotes. So I haven't done any of that. Chef Alisa, I butcher this every time, and my wife's going to watch it. She's going to give me crap for sure. But that's a restaurant that when my family comes to watch games, they go there.
Love it. Is there a spot that the players go to? Or? Well,
they're just getting coffee. They're just getting coffee.
I mean, I used to see Roadrunners at
Legal Pete's
on University all the time.
Can't beat that.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. Okay.
I have no clue. I try not to know part of it. I know they have fun.
Legal Pete's good. It's good.
They're just going. They're also just going home into the rink.
That's exactly what I think.
Players, they're Friday night in Tucson. We're just going back to bed, coach. We're good.
Listen,
watch movies.
As someone who lived in downtown Tucson, across the street from Hi-Fi, like at 2 a.m. you're awake when the bars are getting out. Like
not the Roadrunner players,
no,
Bill.
That was me speaking on my own behalf. Oh my god.
Probably never saw a Roadrunner, right?
Yeah, no, never. Well, we do a segment on the show. I know it's Monday, but it's called Weekend Binge. Basically, the concept is, and clearly you just stated how little time you have, but are you watching anything? Any good recommendations? Streaming or movies or?
I seriously have the most boring life ever. I am the least interesting human ever. But I would say that my wife is watching, I think, the Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Good. Yeah, fire. It's good. Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Right?
1883 was first, so now we're 18.
There's another one. There's two of them.
Yeah, it's the new one.
Yeah.
The 1920s.
I was just watching the documentary on the golf. What's a swing away?
Yeah.
On Netflix.
On Netflix.
Yeah,
that
looks
was really
good.
I've heard that's good too.
Yeah, it was really good.
All right.
Really good.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
wait
Love
till the
Island
summertime.
UK didn't crack in. No, Leah's favorite
Come
show.
on.
Can you see Steve Potvin and all the coaching staff around? John
Hey,
Slaney.
There's 60 episodes,
wait.
so you got to stay on top of
You
it.
walk into the coach's room
Right.
and they're fumbling for the remote as they're looking at Love Island UK. Sorry, Bill's here.
Hey, Bill's wife watches Love Island UK.
Oh
Don't-
my
It's usually
goodness.
done after karaoke.
Exactly. Oh man. One other thing we like to ask our guests is, especially as someone who's played hockey and
Yeah.
been a coach for a while, we like to tell our tale. We call it tales from the road. We all have crazy travel
Yeah, it's more like
stories.
nightmares from the road.
Yeah,
but-
more nightmares. Do you have any crazy travel?
But before you go, we just want to, we're not here to embarrass anybody or sorry, off color. These are funny
Yes.
little,
Yeah.
like a prank that might have been played
Or
to
like
one
something
player.
that went terribly wrong like,
Yes.
in your travel.
You know what? It's again, it's so not interesting, but because of our schedule, we don't really get a lot of time off on the road, and when we do, it's very limited amount of time. And so, like, we have Zach Stortini now as part of our staff. He's a new member of our staff, and it was Jay, John, and I, and Jake Wagman for quite some time. And so, every time we go out now, we've talked about all these great times that we've had in the past, but there was probably just a little bit more time in between games, so you could have a little bit more fun on your downtime. And so we kept telling Storts about how great we've had, how fun it was on the road. And every time we get on the road, we're so tired, and we get to a place and we have a drink, and then it's like, remember all those times we used to have such
Fun?
a good time? It was so much more fun. And then Zach's like waiting for this, excitement, and there's just never any excitement. But the good thing is we have this. I think we talked about the Blue Water in San Diego. There's this restaurant that's, off the beaten path a little bit, and typically when you go to San Diego, you want to be by the beach. And so, of course, we can't wait, and we make plans to be by the beach and have dinner. And Jake Wagman took us to this place that was a little off the beaten path, and it's a little bit of a concrete heaven, and it was probably the worst experience.
No.
But little did we know that there's a Blue Water restaurant on the beach, and for some reason, he's only invited Zach. He's never invited John and I. We've only experienced the terrible place on the off the beaten path. But it's not a funny story. But I want to make sure that he feels guilty.
That he took you to the the wrong place. Like, this place?
This
Like, really?
place? And you took Zach to the nice place. I guess he felt sorry for Zach.
So
We're
not
having much fun
on the
road.
beach,
This one, the new one,
good
is
one,
on the
yes.
beach, and it's a sunset.
but not the one you went to.
Not the one we
No.
went to. The one we
Whoops.
went to was off. It was in town, so it was. You don't want to be in San Diego in town. We want to be on the beach. But
Love it.
anyway, he only takes his closest friends. We understand.
Oh boy. Oh well, if you want to check out a Roadrunners game, we definitely recommend it. We've been down. We went last year, but we're trying to find time again with just the crazy schedule. But I know a few of our listeners actually live in Tucson and go to Roadrunners games a ton. So if you're looking to go to a game, anytime you go to a game, a show, an event, grab your tickets on Game Time. It's the best place to buy them, especially if you wait till the last minute. You can save up to 60% when you wait. I've been eyeing John Mayer tickets April 5th, and I've been waiting. And every time I look like once a week. Every time they're a little less. So I'm really going to try to hold on, wait until that last day. And the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link below in the description. So definitely check out the Game Time app. And also, I'm excited because as soon as we get off the air here, we got some Burrito Express burritos waiting for us. Did you?
If you remembered to order on the email that they sent,
Yes.
which of course I didn't
Of
again.
course. I'm on the steak and salsa train. I've been beating this drum for the last 2 weeks, ever since Sean brought me a steak and salsa burrito 2 weeks ago. So I got one waiting for me in the kitchen.
And I don't.
Couldn't be more excited. And right now at Burrito Express, you can buy a $25 Burrito Express gift card and get a free burrito when you do. It's an awesome deal. So head on over to your nearby Burrito Express location today. They've got locations all over the valley, Tempe, Scottsdale, Gilbert. Check them out. Really, really good stuff.
I think what's important today is people that are listening and then listen to us a lot. We've talked about the rebuild over and over. And the rebuild is such a process that it starts with the draft and all the scouting. But this piece of the American League is so important for what's going to happen here in the future. So I know we are not kidding. We strongly encourage you, follow this team. Like, get on theahl.com. THEAHL.com. Follow the standings, follow the players, because they're players that either have been here or are going to be here. If you're in Tucson, great, go to a game. If you can't, follow their PR staff on their website, because they do podcasts. Adrian Denny, he gives you all the information you need, because the players you learn today in Tucson are the players you're going to want to know tomorrow in Arizona. So I can't say enough how important the marriage between these two these two teams are for this franchise, because it's an important step of the development to getting this team through to being winners. And we look at the Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay won a Stanley Cup. They also won championships in the American League first.
Yep.
It's a stepping stone. It's a building ground to get you to this. So I personally want to say thanks to what you're doing down there. I know it's a hard line between winning and teaching, and you guys walk it very, very well. So thanks for coming and doing all the things you're doing for us today.
Appreciate that. Thanks. And honestly, just to piggyback off what you were saying, it was nice to see last night Maccelli and Hayden connect on an overtime winner. Both guys.
Both.
We did want to ask you about that. How is
Yeah.
that to watch guys that you've had a hand in their development?
Well, it's fun to see them do the things they did with us, and it translates at the next level. You could see, Maccelli did that quite often with us. He'd freeze the goalie, keep the puck connected, and then slip the pass across for an open net.
We hear this from Maccelli here, and I heard it on the broadcast last night. That's why I wanted to ask you, somebody who's seen him. I think Maccelli, unbelievably offensively gifted. His ability to make plays through sticks, phenomenal. Can he learn, and can he add scoring to what he does on the ice? Can he become a goal scorer?
Underrated shooter.
Yeah.
Absolutely can. I think he prefers to pass. He defers, but he can definitely rip the puck.
Do you think that'll happen as he matures more and gets to know, hey, maybe I should? Right now he defers to everybody because, hey, I'm the new kid. Do you think that'll...
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think parts of his game has evolved in, just on the forecheck and the defensive zone. So I see no reason why he can't evolve offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his passing has been unbelievable,
Yeah,
especially the last two games, and now he's leading all rookies in assists.
If I'm a shooter, that's the guy I want to play with.
Yes,
for
sure.
sure.
He's getting you the puck.
Oh,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
awesome.
And if I don't score, that's the guy I want to play with, because he's going to give me the puck, and I'm going to find a way to score with that guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts from anyone on the panel?
I think we're good. Actually, just looking forward to being able to watch a playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
we don't get them up here right now, buddy. So
it was great in Tucson. We followed the Winnipeg Jets and now the Phoenix Coyotes and hopefully the Arizona Coyotes at one point where the whiteout was in effect. And we had our whiteout in Tucson 6-7 years ago, and it was.
Is it that long ago? It was Dallas?
It was that long ago. Yeah,
no, Texas.
We played San Jose.
Yep.
And that was the first round, and then we got to the conference finals against Texas.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And as you know, if it's Roadrunner Coyote related, we'll be there, and hopefully we get down to a playoff game. That would be phenomenal to make a trip down the I-10 for playoffs.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
And check out, again, the Roadrunners are at home March 3rd and 4th against San Diego. So if you want to get down for a game, you can go for both nights, go for one. The games there are amazing if you haven't.
Yeah, they really are. It's a lot of fun. It's a great atmosphere for hockey.
Yep, absolutely. So check them out. Thank you again for joining us in
Appreciate
studio.
it.
Hope
Thank
to have you
Thanks
back
for
again
inviting me.
soon. Yeah.
I'm probably not going to leave. I'm just be here for a little while.
We're going to the Warren
Yeah,
Furniture
hang out.
thing. Grab a Four
Kitchen over
Peaks
there.
and
Yeah,
more
exactly.
furniture.
Yeah, the Burrito Express is calling everyone's name.
Exactly.
Well, we appreciate you again for joining us. We'll be back live tomorrow. We have another in-studio guest. Now that everyone knows this is the place to be, we just can't get enough. Ray Whitney will be joining us in studio tomorrow on Tuesday at 11 a.m. on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. So we hope you join us then as well. And you can follow PHNX Sports across all social platforms. You can follow us on Twitter at SPetersHockey, at Liam Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan, at Sean_DePaz, at PHNX_Coyotes, and follow the Roadrunners too, at Roadrunners AHL on Twitter. Follow along everything that's going on because it's really exciting. Coach Potvin, thank you again so much for joining us. Everybody in the chat, thank you. Like this video, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.